everybody and welcome back to my channel. In this week's video I'm going to be showing you how I make my glow-in-the-dark clay pins. So if you've seen my how to make clay pins video before, you'll know that this is going to be quite a similar process, but actually for getting this really good glow-in-the-dark effect, I have a few tips for you to make sure that you get a really nice and bright glow-in-the-dark pin. So I'm going to be focusing on making glow-in-the-dark stars for this, because obviously stars are glowy and I think it would be really appropriate to have as something that glows in the dark. So I have this little star cookie cutter. You can use sort of any cookie cutter, any size that you want, and I just punch out some nice star shapes and smooth out the rough edges. So not only will I be making a few glow-in-the-dark pins, I actually decided to make some cute little star earrings and make them glow-in-the-dark, because I think glow-in-the-dark earrings would be a fun idea, so we're going to do some of those as well. If you want more detail about how I make jewellery with clay, I also have a little video about that, so you can check that out. So once you have baked your clay, you're going to want to start painting it white. So you might be thinking, but the clay is already white, why do I need to paint it white? Well, it says on the glow-in-the-dark paint tin instructions, you'll see this paint in a minute, but in the instructions it recommends, you know, having a perfectly white surface because this will give you a nice bright effect. And I personally find that the sculpty clay kind of dries a little bit off-white rather than like a nice bright white. And also it's a really good idea just to paint it white, because if there's any specks of dust or anything, you know, stuck to the clay, you can cover this up and it won't affect your layers of glow-in-the-dark paint. So the glow-in-the-dark paint that I'll be using is this Plastic Coat glow-in-the-dark spray paint. And if you've never used spray paint before, here's a few tips for you. So on the tin it recommends that you spray, you know, a thin layer of paint, one thin layer of paint at a time, and let that dry. You'll see that I actually use quite a generous coating of paint, because I found that when I sprayed on a thin coat, because the glow-in-the-dark paint seems to contain particles, it's actually kind of textured as opposed to, say, just like regular paint. Because it has this texture, it kind of ends up quite rough if you do really thin coats like I did in my test pieces. So you'll see here that I'm spraying on quite a generous amount of paint from my first coat. You can see it showing up on the wood here, and in total I used 3 generous coats of the paint, leaving each layer to dry in turn. So I left my pins to dry overnight just to make sure all the layers were completely dry, and as you can see I had them blue tacked onto a board. This was just to raise them off the board so that the paint wouldn't stick them to the board or anything like that, and it also means if it's raised off the board you can get an even coating all the way around the pin. And once the paint is fully dry, you can decorate them however you like. So for me, I really wanted to make cute little faces on these pins so that it was just a really bright glowing star, and then the face would contrast to that in the dark. So I'm using Posca paint pens for this, which is just perfect. They're really pigmented and they're a permanent marker, so they're excellent for drawing little small details like this. And as you can see, I accidentally smudged one. I was so annoyed because I couldn't like remove the black paint, so look, I had this like really creepy drippy eye. But to fix this, I took a blue Posca pen and turned it into a teardrop, which I thought was genius, because as you can see this happened on the earring pair, which was so annoying. So of course they both had to match, so I made 2 very sad looking stars for earrings. Once the little paint faces have dried, I like to coat my pins using UV resin. So I like to apply this with a toothpick, just a small amount at a time, and evenly spread it over the little star here, as this gives me the best control. If you have a little UV lamp, you can absolutely cure these in your house, just in your bedroom if you like, but personally I like to wait for a sunny day just so I can cure it outside in direct sunlight, as this allows me to just sort of leave it outside and forget about it for an hour and then come back and they're all done. And the last step you're going to want to do is adding the sort of metal wear to the earrings and also gluing on pin backs to the pins. So these earrings were super simple because they already had a little metal attachment that I'd put in and baked into it. I only had to just unhook a little earring hook attachment and put that on with some pliers, and it was really quick and really easy, and I think these turned out as a lovely earring. And for the pins, I like to attach my pin backs using Gorilla super glue. This is a really strong, hard drying super glue. So I just put a little dot on the back of each pin and just stick on the little metal part. And this also has a nice metal butterfly clasp for these pins. And I forgot to film it, but I actually like to wait for the glue to completely dry, and then I also do a coat of UV resin on the back as well, just to sort of seal in the glue and just make it look really shiny and professional on the back as well. And here are the finished pins and earrings. I think they turned out really cute. This is a really simple one, so I highly recommend that you try it and give this glow-in-the-dark effect a go. I think my favorite were the earrings because they look so sad but also so cute, and they really brightly glow in the dark. It is so worth doing the 3 coats of glow-in-the-dark paint. I know it's a bit time consuming, but see, especially when you shine it like your foam torch on them and then turn off all the lights, they glow so brightly. So I hope you give this one a go. If you find this helpful, please give it a like, and I really hope you can consider subscribing. I make new videos every single week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!